Well, welcome everybody. Once again, we are joining today for another podcast, and we are headlong into series number 11. And this is podcast number 4. For those of you who are new, my name is Paul Fletcher, and this is The Healing Source. As it is with each and every podcast, we are sharing wisdom and insights about your soul and your soul journey. Everything that has been taught in the podcast series is about how you can reconnect to your source and connect more to your own soul and your own heavens, teams, guides, angels, and saints. So it should be no surprise this here in series 11, where we are focusing on bringing healing and or transformation to you in your soul journey, possibly to another, by gathering higher wisdom from higher sources. It has, been a dilemma for us here on this earthly plane to be stuck in a place where it's hard to figure out, what can I do? How can I resolve some of my problems? How can I resolve some of my health issues? Whatever it might be, we are relegated to our mind processes, and everything that we have learned along the way. One of the beautiful things about being able to communicate with our own soul, with heaven, the source, our creator, or any of our heavens team members, is that they are not in this human realm. They are able accordingly to know more, see more, understand more, and it benefits us to enhance our ability to communicate with them. One of the things I've repeated consistently on this show is that we are a soul having a physical experience, not the other way around. So when we take time to really connect at the level of soul, to enhance the communication that we can have with our own soul and with heaven, then what happens for us on this physical basis is we're no longer reliant upon our own understanding and our own logic. In the hierarchy of healing, Master Sha has explained soul is at the top. Heal and transform the level of soul, and everything beneath it will transform as well. Well, what's beneath the soul is our heart, our spiritual heart. And what's beneath that is our conscious mind, everything we've ever learned in our mind. What's beneath that is the energy, and what's beneath that is the matter. So heal and transform the soul, the heart will adjust, the mind will adjust, the energy will adjust, and finally the body, the matter, will adjust. Now, if you've never heard that, then please go back to the beginning and start listening from the beginning, like, subscribe, etc. Because that is the foundation for all of the wisdom, the teachings, and even the foundation for a good and accurate flow. In order to have a good and accurate flow, you want to surround yourself with as many souls as possible that can assist you. Since we are a soul first, having a physical experience, it comes and stands to reason that we are 99% soul and 1% matter. Although it feels the other way around, it feels like we're 99% matter, this is our life, this is what we live in, and we're trying and struggling to connect to the other side, so to speak. It's actually the other way around. So because our soul knows all of our history of all of our lifetimes, because our heavens teams, guides, angels, and saints, not only do they know that, but they also know what you're trying to accomplish in this life, and because the source, your creator, loves you unconditionally, contrary to what might be taught in some belief systems where there is conditional love, because all that is true, then there is literally thousands, if not more, souls at your beck and call to assist you to make your life far less miserable. And one of the ways we can accomplish that is to learn to communicate better. So one of the ways we can communicate better is by calling on more souls than we might know exists. And I don't mean calling forth 1,000 souls of all the light beings, of all the archangels, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't mean that at all. Actually, what I'm referring to is some very high-level wisdom that Master Sha gave, but not all of his students understood it. And that wisdom is that everyone and everything has a soul. So stated differently, everyone and everything originates from Source. Every speck of energy and matter originates from Source. And that energy and that matter, whether it is physical or non-physical, still originates from Source. So whether you see it, whether you define it as physical or not, is not relevant from the eyes of the Source. Source created it, therefore it is a part of Source, therefore it has a soul, a spirit, an aspect of Source. So when you hear this statement, everyone and everything has a soul, that includes everything, not just what you can see, not just what you conceptualize with your mind. Let me give you some examples. One of those potential examples is a thought. Now, your mind would argue that a thought can't possibly have a soul, but it does, because everyone and everything originates from Source. So that thought originated from Source. You just happened to grab onto it, called it yours, but it has a soul. What about a possibility? A possibility has a soul. What about a solution? A solution has a soul, right? What about a relationship between two people? Not this person and that person, the relationship between the two people. That has a soul. And that's an easy example, because that relationship soul was created when those people first got together, which could have been many, many other lifetimes ago. And in that very first communication, they created a relationship. And if that communication continued, they created a long-term relationship. And if they reincarnated and got back together again, that relationship soul had additional information added to it. All that additional information that's added to a relationship soul follows that relationship from lifetime to lifetime. It's one of the reasons why people come together. It's one of the reasons why people break apart, because that relationship soul carries all lifetimes of all information within it. Everything has a soul. That is one of the most important pieces of wisdom I can share with you. And for the majority of Master Sha students, it just went right over their head. They did not comprehend that. I got it. I got it from the beginning. And it's one of the reasons why I am acknowledged as being a person who really does amazing flows and receives amazing guidance, because I have trained myself to communicate with more than just Source, or more than just God or Jesus or Buddha or an individual saint. There's nothing wrong with that. They can absolutely provide wonderful guidance. But sometimes we need something a bit more attuned, aligned, and specific. Maybe you have trouble with your coworker and they keep gossiping about you and you don't know why. Well, your coworker has a soul. You very likely have a relationship with that coworker. That's a soul. The gossiping and the words that are gossiped have a soul. The solution has a soul. The problem has a soul. And when you invite all of those souls, then they all want to do one thing, which is the second Master Sha one-sentence secret that any Master Sha students already heard, but never let it go past the front door. And that is that every soul serves. The purpose of every soul is to serve. That's a one-sentence secret you probably already know, but most of us have not taken it past the word go. We think that when we hear those words, the purpose of every soul is to serve, that it's limited to us. I am a soul, therefore my purpose is to serve, right? But you miss the boat in its entirety if you don't realize that the soul of a solution is here to serve, the soul of a problem is here to serve, the soul of that relationship is here to serve, and the soul of anger is here to serve, the soul of any irritation is here to serve you. Everything has a soul. Expand your consciousness, and every soul is here to serve. So with those two foundational pieces of wisdom that have been given to us a long time ago, when we actually apply that to understanding the nature of soul and soul communication, when we actually do soul communication, talking to others at a distance, at the soul level, calling their souls in to receive higher guidance in a flow, when we call forth more and more souls, we are significantly increasing our opportunity for a more accurate and aligned answer. Kind of common sense, but we needed to take time to explain the first part of this first. Welcome Jen, welcome Cass, everyone else who's joined, welcome. Happy to see your comments, feel free to share. So I shared with you that I'm going to do some examples. Great. So to remind you, when you're doing divine flow, step one, first step is to make sure you are clear so that you can receive accurate and clear guidance, free of your monkey mind, free of preconditioned processes and predisposed answers that you might make up on your own. You need to be able to clear your channels. And the best way to do that is by chanting your soul language. Now, if you say, what soul language? Well, then you need to go back to an earlier podcast. You can even go into the search bar of most of the podcasts under The Healing Source. You go to my podcast called The Healing Source, and then type in the search for soul language. It'll take you straight to that podcast, and it will teach you how to reveal your soul language. If you already have it, fabulous. Then you want to use that to transform and clear the channels. Now you can, of course, chant the Qi mantra, Hei Hung Hong A Shi Yi Wong Yo, repeatedly, and that will also clear the same channel. The purpose of clearing your channel, straightforward, it's so that you don't have clutter in there that colors the quality of the accuracy of the flow that you're trying to receive. Okay? So, I want you to ask a question, whoever's in the audience now. You want an answer to a question? Give me a specific question, not a general question. What's the nature of my soul journey? Far too general. Okay? Give me a specific question, and I will show you how to call forth all of the souls that can assist in that highest and best guidance and actually do a flow for you and your question. In the meantime, I'm going to wait for it to pop up on the screen, and then I will call upon you and I will do a flow on your behalf. Okay? So, when we do flow, what we want to do is recognize that we might already have an answer. If you're not typing right now, you should be, because I'm going to give you a free flow, so make sure you're typing right now. When we are doing flow, when we are connecting to offer guidance, we want to stay out of our own head. And as I taught in the last couple of weeks, one of the ways to accomplish that is by speaking one word at a time. You hear the word, you speak it. You hear the next word, you speak it. You hear the next word, you speak it. You know when you are in a good divine flow, when you don't know what that next word's going to be. And you start to piece it together, and it does start to make sense as a sentence, but you're listening, and you don't know what the next answer is going to be. Okay, so Jennifer has asked for a question. She says, I'm having trouble serving and understanding my purpose. How do I move forward and know my exact purpose here? Okay, good. Let's work with that. Okay, so pay attention not just to the answer, but to the setup, because it's a setup that can assist with the high quality answer. Okay, so let's do the setup. Dear the soul of Jennifer, we love you and we appreciate you. And to the soul of Jennifer, Shifu's and Heaven's teams, guides, angels, and saints, we love you and we appreciate you. Could you please come to assist with this soul communication? And to the soul of Jennifer's question regarding that she's having trouble serving and understanding her purpose in regards to that service, how she is to move forward. The soul of this question, please come. To the soul of the highest and best guidance, answer, and solution that can best assist Jennifer, please come. And to the soul of any additional, this is another soul, any additional wisdom or information not requested that can provide guidance, please come. So now, I set the stage by calling forth many souls, so now I need to say something to delineate who or what's going to speak. So please choose a spokesperson and offer your guidance as appropriate. When I say choose a spokesperson, I set this up so I can attune to who or what will deliver the message. What might be, this is the soul of the answer. This is the soul of, if it was a business, the business could come in, because I would call in the soul of the business. If it was a business-related problem, I would call in the soul of the business, and literally the soul of the business could provide the answer. So that's why I say whomever is the ideal and best to provide this answer, please provide the answer. So now I'll wait. I'm cleaning my channels. I'm listening while I'm waiting and practicing as to who is going to speak. And when it comes, I know, because I will just literally hear the words, this is, and then I'll get started. How? This is Jennifer's soul. My beloved Jennifer. This is not a small solution. There are many facets to why you're having trouble both moving forward and sustaining that forward movement. If you look at your history, you see a history of 1 or 2 steps up, 1 and sometimes 2 steps back. So you move forward, but then you get knocked down, and then you move forward, but then you get knocked down. And this leaves you in a place of defeat at many levels. What is key for you to understand is consistency of practice, consistency of effort, consistency of focus and intention. Now, you have done that before and have seen almost immediate results because you're capable of manifesting. What then is the problem? It is consistency of paying attention to what tries to knock you off your consistency. You continue to get knocked off by this person or this event or that event or this trauma or that trauma or this excuse or that excuse. What you are failing to do, my beloved Jennifer, is being consistent with both the steps to bring forth what you desire and being consistent with disallowing that which comes up in your vibration to be transformed. Instead of jumping into it and riding that rodeo down the negative road, you need to see it for what it is, transform it using your consistency patterns, and stay on track. So it is not so much your direction or what you want to do. You already have that. Your problem is your inability to remain consistent. Focus on this, and you will find things being much more manageable and much more directionable and much less stress that comes from the inconsistencies. This is your soul. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so your soul is the one that decided to come through and talk. It knows you well, and it provided that. But you notice that it wasn't really a direct answer to your question, right? It was more of an answer, but maybe not what you expected to hear. Because you wanted to know what's next for me and what am I supposed to focus on. Well, it told you what to focus on, but it also reminded you that you already know what you need to do and how to do it. You just get knocked off all the time. So that was the message for you. Now, nice thing about spiritual guidance is it can give us some answers, but it's still up to us to do something with it. There are many students that I have, many clients that I have that listen to what is shared with them, and they literally do it, and they see major shift. And there are ones that let their monkey mind get back in the way a week or two later, and they just keep going down the same old path. And I keep hearing the same story from them, 6 months later, 1 year later. It's the same story. Nothing's changed in their story because they have an attachment to their story. They have an attachment to the drama that's associated with their story. And so that's their growth. And even if I tell them that, they'll acknowledge it, but they won't always make that change. But that's often where the change needs to occur, especially if they keep regurgitating the same old stuff. So Jennifer responds, and she shares, "Thank you, 100% spot on. It sure does. It actually makes complete sense, and that was the one key I was missing on the why, now knowing that I have the key to open the door to countless." Great. So thank you for sharing, Jen. Now I'm still waiting for another question, and I can give you another example of gathering the souls. I want you to go outside the box. Could be a spiritual question, could be a financial question. Cass has asked a question here. She says, what kind of physical activity would best serve to boost creative presence, open my heart, and help connect me to my body? Okay. Great question. Let's find out. So, question has a soul. Physical activity has a soul. What is the best service has a soul. Creative presence has a soul. Her heart has a soul. Okay, her body has a soul. So, to the soul of this question, what kind of physical activity would best serve to create presence, open her heart, and help her connect to her body? Soul of that question, please come. The soul of the highest and best guidance and answer that is most appropriate for Cass to hear at this time, please come. Why do I say that? What do I say? Give me the best answer that's most appropriate for her to hear. Because I don't want to speak the wrong words, and I don't want to speak something that she can't handle, which I'm not worried about Cass, but there are many times if you're doing guidance for others, you can't say certain things in certain ways. You have to be very, very cautious about how you say things. And you don't want to filter the words that come through, because what's coming through should be unfiltered. But if you do not tell heaven, or whoever you're talking to filter it in such a way where Cass or this person that's receiving gets the most and highest value out of it, deliver the words to me in such a way where I deliver it where they get the highest and best value, then whomever is delivering that message might deliver it in such a way where you just speak those words and then it can cut that person. It can cause them to have fear, anxiety, concern, whatever it might be. So you want to state, please deliver this wisdom to me in such a way where their Cass gets the most value out of it. Thank you, right? This is, again, part of the setup. Now, another thing, we're going to call forth the soul of the highest and best solution, the soul of Cass's Shifus, heaven's teams, guides, angels, and saints. They might want to borrow my mouth to deliver this message. They might have a better way of providing this answer. We invite, of course, the source. The source wants to talk. We invite any souls that have not been mentioned or requested that might be highest and best to offer this guidance. Thank you. So again, with you, you might only be familiar with talking to your soul, and that might be all you practice with. So if you start calling in other heaven's teams, guides, angels, and saints, you start calling in the source, etc., then this also requires you to be able to attune to their frequency, and that will take practice. But the more you call upon them, and then you sit there and you chant, 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 and wait for who's going to announce themselves, you're going to hear, this is Kuan Yin, this is Buddha, this is, Jesus, this is the source. You will hear that prior to starting your flow. It might take 20 times of practice, but you'll get there, and all of a sudden you're going to hear, this is the source. Oh, wow, that's great. And you're going to start to feel that frequency of the source. You might hear, this is Jesus Christ. And Jesus will have a very different frequency than the source, and so forth. And the more you practice like that, the more you can become attuned to different saints. I'm going to go much more into this next week when we talk about different saints, okay? All right. This is your Yuan Shen. In essence, what you are asking is, how can I be more physically present in such a way that I am not impacted by all that is currently impacting you at this time? One of the best physical exercises for you is anything where your feet are touching the ground. Even something like a push-up where your hands and feet are touching the ground. It does not need to be highly physical. It simply needs to be more along the lines of stretching and touching the ground. By stretching your meridians, by touching the ground, you allow yourself to act as a grounding device, wherein prior to that grounding you have been a receiver, some of frequencies you have not enjoyed, and much like a large satellite-based antenna, the dome type of dish, you collect those frequencies. There is a need for you to diffuse them into the earth. This will allow you to be much more much less affected by differing frequencies, as they can pound on you at different times. It can also assist you with accuracy of information with what you choose to receive, and with practice you can tell the universe, I don't want to receive this information. I want to receive information that is supportive and beneficial for me in my soul journey, not information from others that has no relevance or benefit to me in my soul journey. You can ask this from the universe, and the universe can deliver. It requires you to realize your power to do so. This is the message. This is your Yuan Shen. How. Took me a while to actually figure out who was going to talk on that one, because it was so high and such a white frequency that I was like, it's not a Heavens team member, and it's not Source. And then, it was your Yuan Shen. Okay. All right, Jen says, and you can put any comments in there, Cass, that you'd like. From earlier, Jen said, I do not connect and don't see immediate results and give up no more of that. Thank you. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that meant, but my guess is that sometimes she doesn't see immediate results, so she gives up. And so the key, again, is, we are, as it has been stated many times, and you should know by now, we are all co-creators in this universe. And most of us co-create by default, meaning we let our monkey mind and our wild consciousness create for us. We don't act as if we are co-creators. And so it's important to do that in all things. And so, this includes, like in this example, the message was to Cass to tell the universe that I'm not interested in receiving, this, I want my radar dish, my satellite dish here to be more specific in what it receives. And you can do that. It's not that dissimilar when Master Marilyn was speaking, and she was one of Master Sha's main persons that she would go to for Divine Flow. She wrote books in Divine Flow, and one of the things she said was, Heaven would give her information too fast. And she said, can you please just give it to me at the speed that I can speak it and write it down? And so they just slowed it down, because she made that request. This is how Heaven works. So you can do that as well. Okay? So this completes today's wisdom and teachings on some specific practices with some examples that you can do to enhance your accuracy. It does take a little practice. You have to go back to remembering that that you need to do something that is supportive. You need to do something that is in alignment with what makes you happy. And when you do, your flows will be even more accurate. When you're doing stuff that does not make you happy, ask your flows, what can I do to make me happier? And then go do it. And you will find that will bring you happiness and accuracy as well. Okay? Next week we're going to go into connection to saints, heaven's members, those outside of Source, even into non-physical, such as the soul of your business. Your business might have a storefront, but that's not its soul. And the soul of your business, guess what, has been around many times because you've had businesses many times. And so you could have had done good things in business before, maybe not so good things in business, and that can affect your business in this life. So we will go into some of those examples next week, okay? All right, everyone, have a wonderful day. Until I see you then, have an awesome day. Bye-bye.